You want to chant? Follow me. Maitli ji can do on her own, I think.
I have a bad throat today.
No problem. Let me do it today. I'll do the chanting today. सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Someone wants to follow the chanting? 67 to 70. Okay. Indriyanam hi charatam yanmanonuvindhiyate tadasya harati prajnam vayurnavamivambhasi tasmadyasya mahabaho negruhitani sarvashaha indriyanindriyarthebhyaha tasya prajna pratisthita ya nisha sarvabhutanam tasyam jagarti sanyami yasyam jagrati bhutani सा निशा पश्यतो मुनेः आपूर्यमाणमचलप्रतिष्ठं समुद्रमापः प्रविशन्ति यद्वत् तद्वत् कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी. So what we are seeing here is how a person of Brahmavidya is attained Shanti. Ashanti, Manaha Shanti, which means the thoughts, desires within oneself are quietened. They are there, not desires, but thoughts, they are there, but transactional thoughts. Whatever is necessary for vyavhar, whatever is necessary for sharir yatra, a person of Brahmavidya establishes, identifies, with his indriyas, sharira, only to that an extent. उपयोगी जितना है, ना कम ना ज़्यादा, will take up actions that are necessary, ना कम ना ज़्यादा, will talk what is necessary, ना कम ना ज़्यादा, will interact what is necessary, ना कम ना ज़्यादा. All indriya vyavhar is measured only based on what is relevant to be conducting in vyavhar, because for the sake of other people, others still see him in a form, still see a atmagyani, one with a form. So he, she, as we would see them, are united to their Atma Swarup, which is Avikari, Ajaha, Nirvikalpaha, Sanatanaha, Anashtaha, means doesn't get destroyed, Sarvavyapi, Sarvagataha. That nature he abides in. This statement to most of us are only stream of words. They are sentences. Hearing this, it does not form a cognition, a prajna, a knowledge within us. I'll rephrase this. In whom it does not form a prajna, knowledge, bodh, आत्मा बोध नहीं हो रहा, ये सुनते हुए, to all of us, we are identified with the body. Atma Prakarnam, when it is shown in the sense of the knowledge, prakriya based, having done what is not Atma, negated it, focusing on what is Atma, that vichar manthan करके, मनन में मंथन किया, आत्मा क्या है और आत्मा का लक्षण कहाँ नहीं है, आत्मा कहाँ नहीं है, क्या नहीं है जो आत्मा है, वो सब अनात्मा है. And what was the lakshan of anatma? Simple. It is transient. It is ever changing. It is vikari. Vikari is here now, not next. It is ever in a flow. Whatever has a lakshana of change, that is not atma. That is therefore called anatma. ये जो मंथन अंदर किया है, now when you have set your cream for making ghee, the process that you take on is churning it. You churn the cream to separate out the whey from ghee, clarified butter. You separate it out. But there is a process involved. Today, our thinking has mix up. Our idea, our perception has a mix up. मिक्स हो गया है किससे? इस शरीर से जुड़ के, आइडेंटिफाइड विद द बॉडी. आत्मा अनात्मा seems one. In fact, atma is not seen, not recognized. but is already imposing itself as a sense of reality, as a sense of identity. It is lending me a sense of consciousness, awareness. That consciousness, awareness, I have जोड़ दी है. I will use the word चिपका दी है. My sense of consciousness, awareness, शरीर के साथ चिपक गई है, तदात्म्यम है, जुड़ी हुई है, always in my idea, in my thought. My thought is not free of consciousness in its nature, Atma in its nature. I am always my consciousness, my awareness, self awareness means what to us? It doesn't mean Atma Gyan. Self awareness to us means I'm conscious of myself. And that conscious of myself means I am in knowledge of me being an individual. My self consciousness, I am self conscious means I am identified with the Sharir, with my thoughts, with my upadhi. Atmavit has separated. मंथन किया है मन में, विचार में. कैसे किया है? What is the method of that मंथन? Every thought has two components. Every thought, किसी भी thought को ले लो. It is a beautiful exercise. You can take any thought. Supposing I say a thought, it is cold today. I may elaborate this in the retreat. It is cold today. What is that thought? How will you do manthan of that thought? Just an example, quick example. It is cold today. It's a simple statement of fact. It is cold today. What does that cold today mean? You are saying, actually, it is a statement of fact, but you are only able to make that statement of fact when you know that I am feeling cold today, more than normal. I am feeling cold. I am feeling cold means what? What is Atma Anatma Vichar here? In a simple separation, first level, Manan, just Manan. I am feeling cold means ठंड लगी, कंपन हुआ, supposing, and I'm feeling disturbed because I'm feeling cold, I need something warm. To get something warm, I'll get up for some warmth. I'll put on some action. I'll do some action. That idea that I am feeling cold, factual hai, therefore get up and get some warmth, that's fine. But what is the manthan that I do? Because every time I say I am feeling cold, I am one with the thought. Is cold my nature? I say I am feeling cold. Is cold my nature? मेरा स्वभाव ठंडा है क्या? I am, I said. I am feeling cold. Is cold my nature? No. Is feeling my nature? Feeling. No. I am feeling means मुझे sensation है of cold. Now, whatever needs to be done, it's a simple format of action. Just get up, finished. Whatever needs to be done, do. But I am feeling cold. Before I jump to get to do some action, in my mind, I can have a vyatireka, a anvaya vyatireka. I can see an apavada that I can do because I have done some sort of an imposition of my dharma as Atma on Sharir, which is I felt a sensation through my Tvak Indriya of the cold weather, and I quickly, hastily concluded, I am cold. But that discernment, I have to do manthan. Whichever thought makes me restless, this is a big statement. Where do I start the manan of this Atma Anatma Vichar? Whatever is making me restless, जो मुझे disturb करता है. If I just say it is cold and my habit is it's the temperature is dipped, let me just go get some warmth, warm blanket. Is there a disturbance? It's a factual counter vyavharik action. Ends there. But I am feeling cold. Before I slip into an action, I can separate the dharma that I have imposed on the sharir in the sensation, in the knowledge that it is cold. How do I separate? What am I separating? I am separating in my thought. ये मेरा धर्म नहीं है. I am reinforcing. ये आत्मा का धर्म नहीं है. ये आत्मा का लक्षण नहीं है. आत्मा इसको कोई सेंसेशन नहीं है. आत्मा को कोई एक्सपीरियंस नहीं है द्वैत का. आत्मा मेरा स्वभाव है. I can conclude every time with my set of reasons. Atma is my nature. Therefore, all of this must follow. Therefore, my sensation of cold is only vyavharik sensation. त्वक इंद्रिय ने पहचाना कि ये टेम्परेचर डिप हो गया. Therefore, before I get a frostbite, if I'm in a real cold place, I better do something and I protect my body because body is a gift. This body is a short sojourn. This body, even though it is anatma, it is a vehicle which is very precious because in this vehicle, this vichar can be done. I can have a long life living in vichar because every time a vichar is reinforced, it gets, it loosens the hold, that chipka hua jo hota hai. If you have plaster, you have band-aid on your, because you got cut, you put a band-aid. When you're putting a band-aid, the hurt is only of the cut. But when you're changing the band-aid, you have two hurts. What are the hurts? The original hurt plus the ripping hurt. That ripping that you are doing seems to create some sort of a hurt. This example I'm giving only to say that separation is also going to be an active process. Separating the dharma. Shastra here, Bhagavad Gita here, Krishna here is telling us that you reach the stage of living in discernment. This kind of a discernment, separate the dharmas that you are imposing on the body, on the ephemeral world, and calling them your own. This you can start when your indriyas have been controlled, are controlled. The starting point will be indriya nigraha. The one who has all the indriyas nigraha, manan is going to be effortlessly easy. All indriya nigraha means now this atmavidya, atma cognition that I am consciousness, awareness, English words for atma, this is going to be firm. It doesn't disappear. Today, I started by saying, to us, when we hear Atma is nirvikari, avikari, nityam, shashvatam, agocharam, etc., all this lakshanas, dharmas of Atma, when we are gaining knowledge, bodh nahi hai. We are not able to process the words. They're just stream of words, it's sentences. But we are not able to process the sentence. Why? It's not that the faculty of understanding is weak, but because our minds are riddled with ragadvesh. जुड़ के शरीर से रागद्वेषी है. Therefore, starting, he said, 68th verse, O Mahabaho, from all sides, every indriya, start with one. All indriyas, a person who wishes to establish in this perception of atmavidya, knowledge of atmavidya, manages the indriyas with ease. To us, it will be a constant effort and struggle in the starting. But with practice, it becomes as effortless as that man. And once his prajna is established, such a person, to him, living a life unidentified, जुड़े बिना, the word will be जुड़े बिना, शरीर और मन के साथ जुड़े बिना वो जी रहा है. This seems like an improbability to most of us. But Shastra says this Jivana Mukti is also is the peak of human evolution, life evolution. Jivan Mukti is the peak of evolution because now there is no return back into a state of I am this, I am not this, I want to be this. That limited perception of oneself can never return back. The example is once I know my ABCD, once I've learnt it, go back to your kindergarten. When you were taught ABCD the first time, does anybody remember mixing up the sequence of alphabets? Do you think the first time you learnt it, you got it all right? No. You had to put in an effort to A, B, C, D, E. And then the teacher would tell us after M, suddenly out of the blue, she'll say M. After M, what comes? Before M, what comes? There were a certain level of practices that were introduced. How much did you have to practice? Just a few times. What happened to that learning? Once that learning is established, your letters are established. After that, the word formation becomes easier. And slowly the language is established. And once the language is established, go along with me. Can you forget the letters now? I don't know A, I don't, after C, kya aata tha? You cannot forget, unlearn it. You cannot forget them. That's called awakened. Your prajna is formed with respect to that English language at this point of an example. बन गई है प्रज्ञा, और जब बन जाती है प्रज्ञा तो वो अब अखंड है, मीन्स वो टूटती नहीं है. It is always there for your tapping. You can tap into it anytime. It's not consciously there. I don't have to remember every day A, B, C, D, E. But I can tap into that knowledge anytime I want. That akhanda vritti of aham brahmasmi. I am Brahman. Akhanda brahmakara vritti, they will say. It is unbroken. Established in that. The one who is always established in them, in that, his brahmakara vritti formed how? That first word ya, 69th verse. Shankara doesn't comment on it. Madhusudana Saraswati is giving a beautiful meaning to that word ya, which kind of completes the meaning. What is ya? He says, वेदांत वाक्य जनित साक्षात्कार रूप, वेदांत वाक्य जनित साक्षात्कार रूप, अहम ब्रह्मास्मि इति प्रज्ञा. Aham Brahmasmi Prajna is formed. How? वेदांत वाक्य से सुन के, श्रवण करके, जनित, born, साक्षात्कार, direct perception, rope and snake. What is my direct perception actually speaking? What are my eyes really contacting? What is it seeing is a form. It's seeing a color. It's seeing a shape. It's seeing a coiled state. It is seeing all this. And I am actually perceiving a snake. आकार वृत्ति क्या है? आकार वृत्ति all rope. But to me, my mind is आरोपित कर रहा है, सुपर इम्पोज कर रहा है. उस रोप को ना पहचान के, वो it's round, it's brown, it's so many millimeters, it's cylindrical, it's coiled. I'm not able to see what it is. I have no viveka buddhi there. I'm not able to recognize the object. I can't pinpoint what I see clearly. So I'm able to means I somehow impose on it. Not somehow. I have no choice but to impose on it. When I don't see what is as is, I'm repeating the sentence. When I don't see what is as is, when I don't see what is as is, I will see something else in its place, looking like it. I will immediately sense something else there, looking like it. This misperception is corrected. What is the misperception? In our context, I am this form. I am born, I will die. I have these objects, they are mine. These relations, all that we know now. This is a misperception over what? Atma. I am Brahman. That akara vritti is not there. Whereas all the characteristics, lakshanas are of Atma. Awareness is not born, doesn't die, doesn't change. Even simple lakshanas. It remains separate from what falls in it. Akashavat, closest example. It is unidentified with anything. It cannot actually unite to anything. It doesn't take on the dharma of anything. There is nothing other than it. It is one, ekam. It is vibhum. It is sarvavyapi. It is expansive, limitless. That alone I am. That is Brahman. That is me. But misperception is I'm not able to see the vibhum nature of mind. I'm not able to see the ajaha nature of mind. I'm not able to see the ananda swabhav of mind. I'm not able to see it. But I am seeing that I am conscious. I'm imposing the dharmas on things that are ephemeral. I seem to be continuing in my perception changelessly. I am continuing in my perception of me, continuously. This mix up that has happened Vedanta Vakya Janita Sakshatkara. Directly you can see, oh, rope, 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 rope. Oh, it's a rope. One who can't see Sakshatkar means what? Direct perception. When you hear Vedanta Shravanam, it gives a direct perception of you being Brahman. When the tradition teaches through the Prakriya, through Upanishadic Gyan, one knows one's nature, and all the false perception about myself, like false perception of rope gets corrected, my false perception of myself gets corrected. जिसकी करेक्ट हो रही है, वेदांत वाक्य सुन के साक्षात्कार अहम ब्रह्मास्मि वृत्ति बन रही है, जिसकी दैट साक्षात्कार वृत्ति जिसकी नहीं बन रही, वो है सर्वभूतानाम, फॉर ऑल दोज बीइंग्स जिसकी नहीं बन रही, दैट साक्षात्कार अहम ब्रह्मास्मि वृत्ति इज निशा टू देम, इज लाइक नाइट. कुछ नहीं दिख रहा वहां. अविवेक करी, भाष्यकार said, you have no viveka there, there is no light there. In that knowledge there seems to be no I know. It's just words, but the bodh, the prajna is not there. It is nisha, night. That brahmakara sakshat vritti not being there, in whom that living is like night to them. रात को कुछ दिखता नहीं है, so you cannot discern properly. So you get all the, if you're moving about in a dark room, you get knocked, you get hit by something, you fall upon something, you have various experiences because there is no light in the room. Nisha sarvabhutanam, ye brahmakara vritti is night to them, is dark to them. Tamah swabhavavat, Bhashyakara had said. It is of the nature of darkness, means अंधेरा है वहां पे, इस वृत्ति में कोई उजाला नहीं है. If I say if your interest is in, okay, let me put it this way. In terms of objects, it's fairly easy to understand. If you have a desire for a particular object and it was not found anywhere, you tried looking for it, you didn't get it, but then you heard or you saw a message which said this is available there, do you see a change in your cognition? Do you see a sort of a momentary awareness lighting up? Yes or no?
It's a hope, like a hope shines.
There is a hope, there is sudden light, as if there is this, there is this connection with some the light, I would say. There is something that enlivens. We call it a hope, okay. A desire, yes. एकदम से जागृत हुआ कुछ. ये साक्षात्कार वृत्ति, तत्वमसि, you are that Brahman. Nothing happens to us, most of us. वो जागृत नहीं होता. Our interest actually bypasses that section. That hearing, it kind of, overlooks that portion where it is giving the knowledge of your nature. Our interest, our attention kind of overlooks it and goes to the next point when Shastra's grace is that it brings us back to our level and we come back, our interest again triggers at that point again. It is like night to us. That Brahmakara vritti is night to us, unknown to us. It is avidya janita. Karma swabhav that we express. All my desires are avidya janita. That nisha is darkness. Brahmakara vritti. I am aham brahmas. I am Brahman. That thought is darkness to me. It's not illumining anything. It's not illumining my knowledge. Prajna nahi hai, bodh nahi hai. That what is night to everyone. Tasyam, there. Sanyami, the one who has conquered his senses, जो इंद्रिय निग्रह कर सकता है, वो इस बोध में जागता है, जागरती. It's referring to the person. वो इस ब्रह्माकार वृत्ति में जागता है. In fact, because वो जागता है, वो संयमी है. He is able to see the reason to have sense control. He is able to control the senses because the जागा हुआ है ब्रह्माकार वृत्ति में. ब्रह्मविद पूरा जागा है. So he has full control. The previous word said all indriyas he has control over. Therefore his prajna is fully established. But to everyone, to the extent sanyami hai, to that an extent you are awake to your higher nature, your higher purpose, your higher identity, your real identity. That interest that comes up because of which you are able to execute these disciplines. Then the second line said, Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani, where all these beings are awake. Who? Sarva Bhutanam, जो वहां सोए थे. कहाँ सोए थे? परमार्थ दर्शन में, ब्रह्म विद्या में, जहां सोए हुए हैं, जहां इंटरेस्ट नहीं है, जहां नजर नहीं जाती है, जहां अटेंशन नहीं जाता, वहां means it is like sleep for them. But they are awake where? Bhutani, where these people are all awake. Can you complete? Anyone can complete because we've already done it. Where are we all awake? Sansar. In what way? As I started the class today, कहाँ जागे हैं हम?
We are in the transactional world.
We are in the transactional world. तो कहाँ जागे हैं? हमारा जागना कहाँ है?
In their desires.
जगत, desires. हम जागे कहाँ हैं?
मन और इंद्रियों के.
हाँ, जुड़ के. मनस और इंद्रिया जुड़े हैं हम. सेंसेस के साथ जुड़ के, मन के साथ जुड़ के. We are awake to all this. हाय ठंड लग रही है, हाय भूख लग रही है, हाय हर्ट हो गया, हाय गुस्सा आ रहा है, हाय एग्जैक्टली बॉडी के परसेप्शन. We are awake to all this. Are we not? Do we not have a sense of reality here? Correct. Where is our sense of reality? Sleeping to all the Brahman Gyan. I'm not aware of that. There is no akara vritti there. ब्रह्माकार वृत्ति नहीं है, शरीराकार वृत्ति है, मनाकार वृत्ति है. That is why, where is my sense of reality? This is a huge leap in inner growth to anyone who will be able to Pick this up. It's a huge leap in your inner vision, inner independence. The freedom that we seek, this statement gives us. Which statement? If I am conscious कि मैं actually sense of reality जहाँ दे रही हूँ मैं वहीं जागी हूँ. Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani, where we are all awake, is only in the world when the senses in sansar actually in identification with the body and the senses. So my entire nature as Brahman, I have reduced it. That light is only penetrating through my upadhi of manas, buddhi, chitta, ahankar, sharira. My entire Brahman Swabhav, which is limitless, is completely limited now to Sharir Indriya. It's like saying space which is untouched, unaffected, all pervasive in a pot, empty pot. What do I have? Pot space. As if I have limited the nature of space by the boundary of the pot, shape of the pot. Has pot divided the space inside and outside? Does pot divide the space within pot space and outside space? Is pot dividing space nature? Is the nature of space getting divided? No.
No, not really, but we feel like it's being divided.
But it can't divide too. Because if it is divided, what will be the flaw?
Then space, it is not everywhere.
Not only space is not everywhere, if it is restricted by the pot, very interesting. Do the Vyatireka exam, thinking. If it is restricted by Hanji?
It will not be limitless then.
It will not be limitless. Okay. And?
So the whole argument will be repeated, right? So us being Brahman and limitless, all of that will be negated if that's the thought.
Correct. Very good. And if pot is limiting space in that example, then space gets divided. And if it gets divided, then it is not limitless, as you just said. Correct. And when the pot will get destroyed, what will happen to that space? It's limited.
Space will be as is.
Space will be as is, but what has happened to it now? You said it is now divided. You said it is divided. Imagine it's divided. So, okay, let me take a paper.
When you say divided.
What do you mean by divided? What do you mean actually by divided?
So space seems to be conditioned earlier by the pot, but now the space seems free. And although space पे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा, space पहले भी थी, अभी भी है, लेकिन परसेप्शन में लग रहा था कि पॉट की वजह से स्पेस डिवाइड हो गई, बट अब वो नहीं हुआ. अब वो it's gone now.
Correct. I'm saying because if you understand this, then you should put this in the context of the body and Atma. Is Atma divided by body? No.
Deeply, when you are saying like if we see it's divided, then if when pot breaks, then that space should also get destroyed.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
So that is
the space should actually, division का मतलब क्या है? If I have a paper here, I'll have to get up. If there is a paper somewhere, you can all imagine. Otherwise, I'll have to see rough paper anywhere. Okay, I found one. I have a paper. This paper, I'm dividing. When I divide this paper, what has happened? This is called division first, correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
Huh.
Yes.
Now, if I have divided the paper, what has happened?
There are two halves.
There There'll be two halves. So what will happen to space?
Space will get divided.
Space will get divided. How many spaces will you have? As many objects.
Yeah.
So your Akash will be also numerous. As many pots, so many spaces. But that's not what is an experience we have. So what really is pot space seeming to be? What you have to discern in thinking is, correct, there'll be a gap. You have to discern in thinking is, though it looks like it's enclosed in that body, pot, space seems enclosed in the shape of the pot, because if my pot is cylindrical, the space seems cylindrical. If my pot is spherical, the space seems spherical. That means the space seems to be taking the characteristics of the pot. But on examination, is it true? Because if it is true that it takes the shape of the pot, then pot is higher than space within it. And when I break pot, when I break the pot, then the space should also be broken. That is called oneness between the two. शरीर में मेरा consciousness, awareness, I am alive. मैं कहाँ जागी हूँ? To what am I awake? To the world of plurality through my plural senses and a sense of division that I have. Me and you. I and you. मैं और आप. A sense of division that I have. I'm woken up to this. We all are. That is why communication of Vedanta is the toughest. Actually, Shastra can only help us. We need tremendous grace to understand it. I am already united to this. मैं जागी हूं इसमें. My sense of reality is a sense of division. Yasyam jagrati bhutani. We are woken up to all this sense of division, and reality is only you and me and this world and that space and that place and those people and this desire and that desire and your idea and your opinion, my opinion, your religion, my dharma, your dharma, my want, your want, the cause of all conflicts. My want, your want, cause of all conflicts. This my want, your except I'm yasyam jagrati bhutani, जिसमें हम सब जाग के हलचल कर रहे हैं. We are asleep to our nature of Brahman, which is called avidya. वो संयमी वहां जागा है. अविद्या नष्ट, destroyed. वो तो वहां जागा है ब्रह्माकार वृत्ति में. Therefore वो यहां पे इंद्रिय व्यवहार में appears to be asleep, disinterested. वो जुड़ा ही नहीं है. He looks like he's sleeping here. Sa nisha pashyato mune. To him, this is not a sense of reality. Svapnavat. He looks at the world and its experiences that people call real. He calls it as a dream. Appearance. Snake is snake real? Is an appearance. Is pot real over clay?
No.
Excellent. Wonderful, all of you. Excellent. Pot is not real over clay, but it looks real to me. This is the manan, constant manan. How much ground will you cover in Vedanta? Is this whole portion of Sthita Prajna is again another entire method unfolded for self growth. आप चाहे उसको कर्म योग से ले लो, चाहे आप यहाँ पे आ जाओ. What is it saying? Yasyam, I'm sorry, the Sanyami, whoever has all the indriyas, indriyani indriyarthebhyah nigrahitani sarvashah, saha, that person, jagarti, he's now woken up to what? Brahmakara vritti. How did he wake up? Started by संयम, अलग कर दिया इंद्रियों को, इंद्रियों के विषयों से अलग कर दिया. ये मैं नहीं हूं, ठंड मैं नहीं हूं, मैं ठंड, आई एम नॉट कोल्ड, आई एम नॉट कोल्ड, इट इज कोल्ड. I can very, without making too much in my mind about my experience of being cold, highlighting it in my mind, it's an example, you can replace it in a billion things which we get disturbed by. That is cold. It is cold. I don't have to highlight it in my mind. Oh, I'm cold, I'm cold, I'm cold. I don't have to dramatize it. And when I don't dramatize it, it remains a fact. Temperature dips, seasons come, seasons go. Whatever needs to be done, needs to be done. Very tongue in cheek, your karma will follow. Can you see the difference? Am I conveying it effectively enough? Okay. Very tongue in cheek. In fact, those are the people, they do such high level of action. Sattvic karam जिसको हम कहते हैं, इतने सात्विक कर्म होते हैं उनके, that people around will not even register a karma is done, because they will just simply do without the attention on themselves. वो सोए हैं इधर. They don't have any wants or needs, or they don't get anything out of that. A karma to be done, they just do, but they don't have any want over there. Where we are all awake in avidya, and therefore the desires, awake in our desires, and therefore awake in our karmas. We are awake in samsara, we are awake in relation. Wherever we are all awake, 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 with a sense of that reality that we are feeling here. Vaha pashyataha. Who is that pashyataha? The one who sees himself as his real swarup. वो मुनि है, मननशील है. Mananshil means his nature has become, through reflection, constant reflection, separate out. Take the butter out of the cream. Whichever perception is causing disturbance, separate out. The cause of disturbance has to be my, complete the sentence, has to be my
desires.
Sorry?
Desires.
My desires. And in terms of thinking, that's correct also.
Manu.
Huh?
Mana.
Mana.
Ragdvesh.
Ragdvesh, absolutely. And in terms of thinking, has to be a false thinking.
Position.
Imposition, absolutely. Has to be an imposition. Wherever I am disturbed, there has to be an imposition that I have done. It has to be desire-based. It has to be an incorrect perception. It is wrong thinking. Correct. There, wrong thinking in which context? You have to take a standpoint. It is called a imposition from the standpoint of the real knowledge. Per se, where everybody is awake, व्यवहारिक सत्ता में अगर आप बात करोगे, तो व्यवहारिक सत्ता has its own rightness. Everybody is blind. When everybody is blind, it has its own reality, satta, but where one person is awake, means has one eye, can see from one eye. That standpoint you have to make clear, no? कहाँ से any disturbance in my mind must mean my from the standpoint, if I want shanti, he's coming to the conclusion now. My disturbance is because of my identification with the body and the senses and the desires and avidya. I'm sleeping to my sense of reality. And as long as I'm asleep to my sense of reality, I am awake to this false perception that Shastra tells me is false. I tell myself this is real. I feel it real. I don't tell myself. I know it is real. I say, I know this is real. Shastra says this is not real. I know this is snake. Shastra says this is rope. This is not snake. My reality and my suffering and my relations and my wants and my birth and my death, my disease and my home and my car and my food and my stomach ache and my headache and my all of this is so real to me. This Shastra says, if you're feeling this disturbance, what are you? You are having a vidya ka expression. It's full throttle, it's like a steam engine which is full throttle. A disturbed mind is full throttle avidya expression. Means fully identified with sharira. Totally asleep to knowledge. Wisdom से सोया है इंसान. ज्ञान में सोया है. I'm fully awake to my body and its wants. I'm fully awake to my mind and its desires. I'm fully awake to my quick conclusions and my incorrect thinking, false impositions, which Shastra will call false. My thinking that I think is right, Shastra will call wrong from the standpoint of Vidya. So whoever needs Shanti, aspires for Shanti, quickly kya karega? If you understand this much also, he will quickly give up the point of identification. He will discover it. Manan karega. Without manan, you cannot separate this juda hua jo hai wo you cannot separate. The point about the recognition of the desire-based flaw in perception. You got it and it's gone, and I said it and it's gone. Whatever you are, okay, let me repeat the whole thing once again for strengthening of the perception, knowledge. Start from the disturbance. Wherever my mind is disturbed, because where my mind is feeling happy, I never question. Wherever my mind is disturbed, I start from there. To me, that's a sense of reality. My suffering is my sense of reality. My disturbance is I can identify a cause behind it. What is the cause? Usne aisa kiya, usne waisa kaha, ye mera hona tha. There will be a cause that comes up. Like Arjun saying, my suffering is there because the cause is I will lose my people. So in suffering, we will always associate a cause to our suffering. I'm awake to that. But being awake to this, Shastra says, the fact that you are suffering, snake is your perception, real perception. Shastra says this is the cause of your suffering. You are suffering your false perception. And that false perception can only be corrected by a right perception, right knowledge. Rope knowledge will remove the snake. In the same way, that I am identified so much with my body and its wants and my desire and mind and its desires, etc., that this is the cause I identify of my suffering, and definitely this is the flaw. If I have missed the statement as was said, maybe you'll have to listen to it. You can time it at what time around it came so that you can recall it if you want. But this is absolutely the nuance. Brahma Vidya, Vedant, sun ke, many years. Why we don't get Atma Bodh? Atma Bodh क्यों नहीं होता? Because Indriya Nigraha, in this context, the Shastra gives us so many places where we can pick up our first practice. We can strengthen our spiritual journey. Indriya Nigraha nahi hota. Means my sense of reality that I'm feeling जुड़ के चिपक के with the body and the senses, यही मेरे लिए real है, and to remove it will give me a lot of pain. Removing the bandit. The thought of de-identifying and calling it a false perception, the very idea gives me pain. Therefore, I keep holding on to it. Here, to all this samsaric realm, identifying with the body that has emerged, the samsaric realm, वो जो वहाँ जागा है वो यहाँ सोता है. To him it's svapnavat. All, what is that English saying? It is all, he sees it as the prattle of children, prattling away, blabbering away. All our dukh that we experience, feel real about, to him who's woken up to that, to him all this is just as a tiger, fear of tiger in your dream. और ये हमारे लिए इमेजिन ही हो सकता है बिकॉज हम इतने जुड़े हैं इस सेंस ऑफ रियलिटी से. बट शास्त्र सेइंग दिस इज जीवन मुक्ति. You that think that this is not possible today, this Jivan Mukti is for you. That if you follow this knowledge in your life and abide in it, sure enough, in time you are a Jnani. And that Jnani Avastha is the entire Sthita Prajna portion that he has said. As a Jnani, how will you be? So as a sadhak, you should be practicing this, and that sadhana will make you a Jnani. Tasyam Jagarti. You will be awake there. Then what will all this be? All Vyavaharik Satta be? You took my, I had 10 rupees. And that was all my belongings. And I was feeling so secure in my 10 rupees. And I was being so wise to spend it because I have a future life and I don't know what will happen. So I'm spending my 10 rupees very carefully and I'm planning my life. And in between, I am doing some little good karma so that my future is safe and punya I earn a little bit and etc. All this to a man who's woken up is svapnavat. And to us, Shankara now says, and I said in the last class, I'll just highlight it a little bit. He says, all this that we are doing in avidya is only the entire realm of karma. Why is it, I'm repeating my statement, why is it swapnavat for him? उसको पता है कि जागने के लिए तुम्हें कुछ करना नहीं है, आपको बस सिर्फ उठना है, जागना है. Waking up is not an action. Vivek is not an action. Employing your Vivek Shakti is not an action. क्योंकि ये बुद्धि का व्यापार है. एक्शन कर्म इंद्रिया है, मानस कर्म भी है, बट शरीर से जुड़ के कर्म है. बुद्धि विवेक करके यू कैन नो हु यू आर. आत्मानात्मा विवेक करके the entire realm of जहां हम जागे हैं, शास्त्र says your अविद्या से कारण है. अविद्या is a cause that we feel a sense of reality here, and presupposing this avidya as the cause are all the karmas mandated. ये करोगे तो पुण्य मिलेगा, ये करोगे तो पाप होगा. Avoid, like I said, those 10 rupees that I have, I can plan for a life, and I can plan a little bit out of that 10 rupees to earn for my afterlife. So from that 10 rupees, I'll say, okay, 1 rupee for my afterlife karma, afterlife insurance, 5 rupees for my future, blah, blah, blah. And how much is left? Whatever is left, I guess 4 rupees for my sustenance. But that karma that I will be told I do, Vedas will tell us, chodyante is the word. Chodit karma, mandatory karmas, nitya karma, naimittika karma. To whom are all these karmas relevant? He says to the one who has avidya, which means वो जहां जागा हुआ है, इस दुनिया में इस शरीर से जुड़ के जहां जागा है, उसी के लिए कर्म है. You have to be watchful of your karma and its gati. But to a jnani, to a viveki, the one who's woken up to his Atma Swarup, even who's waking up, means you have started the process, you've crossed the realm of Chitta Shuddhi, and you have entered the realm, entered as in you are now manansheel, manan kar rahe ho aap, even in that avastha, कर्म में आपका कोई अधिकार नहीं रह जाता है. कर्म छोड़ना, कर्म त्याग is your right now. And this is Shankara's favorite, not favorite is an incorrect word. This is Shankara's, what, that Shruti Vakya that goes constant throughout. His throughout all bhashyams, there is one statement every time he finds occasion to repeat, context to repeat, every time he will say it. कर्म का अधिकार सिर्फ अविद्या वालों को है. The one who are experiencing a sense of reality in the body and the world, to them are all karmas mandatory. But to one who's understood the worth of Vedantic knowledge, statements, and want to strengthen that perception, निष्ठा चाहिए आत्मज्ञान में. मन श्रवण कर रहे हैं, वो भी तपस है, मगर वो तपस कर्म बेस्ड नहीं है. That discipline is not based on कर्म and फल. उसका तपस का फल है कि you get freed of this entire cycle, and therefore the one who has a desire for atmavidya and to abide in atmavidya, जो वहां जागना चाह रहा है, which means ये सब से वो, he will become disinterested. He will become internalized. 90% of the things, if someone asks, if you wish to aspire to know Atmavidya better, 90% of the preoccupations of the mind which are vyavharik are ignorable. You can ignore them safely. That's not you anyway. By the time you'll understand, you will see the truth of the statement also. But to start also, that indriya nigraha mein, so much of it is ignorable. Ignore, ignore, ignore. Everybody has their own natures. Ignore, ignore, ignore. What should your karma be like? You will move about in the world like a tortoise. And, Shivji, especially when he is in certain photographs of Lord Shiva, Bhagwan Shiva. What are his eyes like? Are they fully closed? Half open. Half open. They're half open. One foot up and one foot down also is of Ganesha, of Shiva, when he sits on his asan, one foot up, one foot down. That half open means that to him all this happening in sansar, he's close to it. He's open to his Brahma Swarup. He's close to half asleep, means he can see, but there's no need for any detailed attention there. संसार में कुछ detailed attention की जरूरत नहीं है. For whom? And this portion is very important to remember. For whom? And this is only Shankara Bhashyam which repeats it. All the Tikakars and other commentators haven't said this. This is exclusive to Shankara and his clarity. To whom is this half closed allowed? ज्ञान निष्ठा को जो चाहता है वो सर्व कर्म संन्यास ले सकता है. And that will be the 4th chapter of the Gita. But it is introduced here by Shankaracharya. The verse is not saying it. Moolam verse is not saying it. But Shankaracharya in this 69.2 paragraph, he brings it up. And this is the point he says, that if you have a pramanyam, through praman you have a prama of brahmakara. Through shravanam, mananam and nididhyasnam, the brahmakara vritti is there. When that is there, then karmas you don't have any obligation for. Because this he will connect to the next verse now. You have no obligation to karma and its fulfillments or its requirements. Your avastha, atma avastha, is your reality. To all others to whom that is not reality, your adhikar is in karma. Many people misunderstand what Shankara says as if he's only talking about sannyas as the only pramanyam for Brahmanist. He is very clear that Vedas are telling us, if a sense of reality is with the sharir and you have no interest, you're asleep to Brahma Swabhav, then your adhikar is in karma. Be very watchful of your gati. Karam or phal ki gati. Be careful in your vyavahar. Keep it dharmic. Identify and live a dharmic life. Never break the line of dharma. One time you break the line of dharma, the dhyayato vishayan pumsaha starts. That's breaking the line of dharma. The minute that line is broken, samsara will multiply. But for the one, therefore for you, adhikar, he's telling whom? Arjun. In a way, adhikar तुम्हारा कर्म में है. And come back to the first part before preceding. If your adhikar is in karam, then you can. Karam is not in your hands. Hanji? Karam is not in your hands. Therefore, karam yoga is the method to come to Gyan Yoga. आत्मनात्मा विचारी तब करोगे ना जब मन शांत है, मन थोड़ा डिटैच्ड है, थोड़ा वैराग्य है, थोड़ी विवेक है, थोड़ी तितिक्षा है, थोड़ा क्षमा दमा है, इंद्रिय निग्रह है, मन निग्रह है, थोड़ा सा तो इंद्रियों को इंद्रिय के विषय से अलग कर दिया आपने विचार से, मंथन किया, you did that. It's called mathani also, no? Mathani with which you separate it. The mathani is what, even in the symbolism of that naga, first Adishesha Naga, serpent coil, the devas and the asuras. The serpent said they are doing churning of the ocean, the milky ocean, and dhire dhire nectar comes after the poison has come. That is your thinking. He says, adhikar usko zarurat nahi hai karam ki. ज्ञानी को कर्म की जरूरत ही नहीं है. क्यों? Because just as in an ocean, all the rivers can enter and it will churn. Samudra Manthan, correct. All the Amrit Manthan, right? All the rivers will enter the ocean. What happens to the ocean? Achala.
It remains the ocean.
It remains ocean. Achala pratishtham. Achala. It doesn't expand.
Absorbs everything.
It absorbs.
It absorbs.
Exactly. It accommodates the entire. Gallons is also wrong word. It accommodates all the rivers, and all the rivers are only entering the ocean. Just as, and it's a very important example here. Why is this Jnani having no need for karma and he's freed of karma? And where is his tripti? His tripti is from Atma Tripti, 55th verse, Atma Santushti, Atma Tripti. His tripti has satisfaction is by his own knowledge of his own nature, who he is. What happens when he is half closed and walking in the world? He says he remains achala. Just as an ocean remains achala, all the perceiving world enters him, but his chit remains unaffected by everything that comes. His chit neither gets, it just remains unaffected, unperturbed. But all that enters, and such a person gets shanti. He has shanti because the whole world can not disturb him. Who is not disturbed by the world? The one who has anchored. अधिष्ठान हो गया उसका, आत्मविद्या में निष्ठा हो गई. सह वो शांतिम आपनोति, उसी को शांति मिलेगी. न काम कामी. Who is this na kama kami? Means the one who is after the desires, fulfillment of desires. कामनाओं के पीछे जो भाग रहा है उसको कभी शांति नहीं मिलेगी. Who is the one who is running after desires?
The sansari.
The
Jiva.
Ajnani.
Ajnani who is identified with the sharir, with the mind, भाग रहा है कामनाओं की पूर्ति के पीछे, उसको कभी शांति मिलेगी नहीं. Can never get peace of mind. He'll never have shanti. Whereas there are some acharyas will explain it even further. Jnani की अवस्था ऐसी है that he doesn't need to run. He obviously doesn't run. Not only he doesn't run, whatever interaction he does in the world doesn't affect him. Not only that, all the objects of desires that Ajnani is running after, they enter him. Bhashyakar uses a special word, and
Titi, what was the last sentence? They enter him. I didn't understand.
I'm just saying that whatever are the, see, Ajnani is running after desire fulfillment with an idea that wo khush hoega if the desire gets fed. Correct so far?
Yes.
What does a Jnani do? He sits with his atmavidya. And what is the nature of all the objects of desires that people are running after to get fulfillment? Shankara says specifically, all this ichha visheshaha, specific desire fulfillment, even specific desire fulfillment, sarvataha, from everywhere enters, means all his remnant desires, if there were any left also, They come from all sides. He's fulfilled. The objects of desires reach him. He doesn't have to go fulfill himself. And ye, I would call it another secret. If you want Shanti, Vedantic method, Vedas have the method. And the method is don't chase your desires. Do what you're supposed to do, but don't chase desires. Whenever you are qualified, your desire will be fulfilled. Nature will fulfill it. It will come to you. The object of desire comes to you. It reaches you. And from all sides it reaches.
Is it connected to if you desire for the ocean and not for the small body? Is it related to that? Like, desire for the ocean. If you have the ocean, you don't need the small desire.
Exactly. Correct. That is the right analogy connected. That when there's already an ocean, where is this well water enough? You don't need it. Not only that, a little extra point Shankara's added here. That even if there is a latent desire somewhere, पहले ज्ञान के पहले जो प्रारब्ध में आपने इच्छाएं बनाई थी, जो आपने पूरी की नहीं बिकॉज आपने कहा नहीं ज्ञान इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट अ पुरुषार्थ, तो वो जो थोड़ा सा रह गया, अगर उसको तो चाहिए नहीं, because he's grown out of it, he doesn't need it. Even then, even those desires which he doesn't need anymore, even those objects will reach him. He doesn't have to chase. He doesn't have to. It's even a silly statement to make. But the important statement for us to understand is the more you run after this fulfillment of desires, the more the desires recede. You're always in a chase. That's how samsara gati is formed. Avidya, kama, karma. If you remember the three words, you will realize the entire cycle of our life is this word. Whereas a karma kand portion or all philosophies, all religion of life will handle kama and karma. क्या करना चाहिए, क्या इच्छाएं रखनी चाहिए, all this choditam karmas, what is to be done, what is not to be done, will be in reference to this two section. But only Vedanta gives you the knowledge, avidya को कैसे handle करना है. And not that there is real avidya. Not knowing is the cause of my desires gurgling my identification with the body. Therefore, know. Know yourself, who you are. So, apuryamanam achala pratishtham. Apuryamanam. Sab jagah se. From all sides. Filling up. That means when samudraha apuryamanam apaha pravishanti. When waters are entering samudraha from all sides, what happens to samudra? Achala pratishtham. It remains achala, not moving. It remains in its own nature. It accommodates everything in itself. Doesn't expand further, though of course the sea levels are rising. But the example means it can accommodate all the water. They reach him. That's the point. They reach him and it remains unperturbed by the waters reaching. When you see Sangam area of any two rivers, anybody seen Sangam area? Fascinating, no? How you can see two distinct rivers. Their color is different. The nature of the river is different. If you see Alaknanda and Bhagirathi, I think, from you can, that Sangam point, there are two different rivers, but then they go and form Ganga. Now, when they are forming Ganga, those two rivers distinct have become now merged in each other, and you can't distinguish which is the water of which. Absolutely different colors, but when they merge so beautifully that you cannot separate the color, which water comes from which river. Actually, the meaning of this verse is that when all the rivers go enter the ocean, you cannot separate which river is which in the ocean. What water is coming from which river? It is all one now. It is just water of the ocean. It's just water. They have come merged in the total water. In the same way, Yadvat, just as all the waters enter the ocean and ocean remains changeless. Tadvat, so too. Kamaha pravishanti yam. For for when the all the kamas pravishanti enter, sarve kamaha, plural, all the kamas they enter this, means this person is moving in the world contacting all the objects enter him. Sashantim apnoti. When all the objects can enter you and your chit does not get perturbed. ना इच्छा बनती है, ना राग बनता है, ना द्वेष बनता है, ना काम क्रोध लोभ मोह मद मात्सर्य, कुछ नहीं बनता. When the world is not able to bring a vikar in your chit, दुनिया जब आपके चित्त में विकार नहीं कर पा रही, तब आप कह सकते हो कि स्थित प्रज्ञा. What about him? Saha, वो शांतिम आपनोति. He has gained his shanti. He has got shanti. He's reached shanti. He has shanti. He is shanti is the right word. You can't separate shanti from him. He is shanti. Na kama kami, just two words. That shanti will never come to the one who's desirer. Means in avidya, shanti cannot come. Therefore, when you study Vedanta, study it with an idea, read it, hear it. When you listen to Vedanta, listen to the knowledge with an idea that it is not meant to fulfill your desires. It is meant to give you much more, where the desires will automatically reach you. Fulfillment of desires reach, objects reach you. You don't have to be desiring them. And वो विवेक है और वही वैराग्य लेके आता है. That knowledge brings vairagyam. And more you move towards atmagyan and the purusharth for it. And the more purusharth you do, more nishtha comes. And more nishtha comes, more independence you have, more joy you have. He said in the previous verse, no? He's all anandam. What was that he said? His chit is all sukham. Prasanna chetasaha. Quickly his andar chit becomes prasanna. Not the one who is a kama kami. Okay? Clear?
Deepti, I'm a little unclear about what desires should one pursue, because I'm still not able to understand, what desires are we supposed to pursue, what are we supposed to not pursue, right? Especially when it comes to grahas. I mean, what should you be doing and what shouldn't be pursuing? So how do you get clarity there?
As a grahast, whatever is necessary for your survival or your family's needs, as a grahast, you can pursue them with legitimate means. Shastra allows that. But be watchful within yourself for your sake. that you do not get dependent on them alone, and that the rest of your actions have karma yoga, some actions at least have karma yoga to them.
And when it comes to individual PCB, like suppose it's related to one's own self, like where do we say that no, should not pursue? Yes.
If Shastra's prohibited action it's not there, then they will fall into kamya karma. Shastra allows kamya karma also. Vedas give you solutions for kamya karmas and its fulfillment also if you think you must fulfill them. But you understand that when you're fulfilling them, the sansar cycle will anyway come with it. Be ready for that also. But no harm in fulfilling legitimate desires, which Shastras have sanctioned, which are quite discernible, no? We don't need too much over there to know. If I have a desire for my favorite example has always been timeless example. If my neighbor is every day 4:35 in the morning plays loud music every day, and when you are trying quietude and doing your adhyanam, music starts from outside. What is the first reaction going to be? What is your desire?
Music store.
Your desire is for shanti. Your desire is for shanti. What is obstructing that shanti? Actually, your desire is for study, say, adhyanam. For adhyanam, you need shanti. That shanti is getting obstructed by music. The cause of that, your mind projects, is my neighbor. उसी से म्यूजिक वही बजाता है, रोज सुबह बजाता है, जब हम पढ़ने बैठते हैं तभी बजाता है. So what will be the next thought? Obstruction आ गया ना? So what is the 62, 63 verse? What will happen next?
You will blame him and then you will, your crew, then all of the cycle will start.
That cycle will start. Now, where is Shastra warning you? Is my desire to study wrong?
No, but it's an like there's an irritant.
No, go step by step. Go step. Is my desire to study legitimate?
Yes.
That can be followed. Is my desire for shanti legitimate?
Yes.
Because it is related to my, so yes, it is follow. It can be followed. That desire can be followed. I want shanti. Now, if my shanti is getting obstructed, now the vikar will start. What does Shastra tell me when my vikar starts? There are only two vikalpas. My vikalpa is either have titiksha, or my vikalpa is I will get carried away by that. I don't have indriya nigraha. I will get carried away and the rest will follow. If I get carried away, what will the Shastra tell me? At what point should I stop? Because at first we'll manage here, then we'll talk about the others. At what point, if I have titiksha, I've stopped it at the right time. How will I have titiksha? Tomorrow morning when I get up, I'm going to get up with a ready set mind that I have to study with the music.
Yeah.
I should be ready for it. That shanti is a elusive misperception. Studying is important, no? For which shanti or not shanti is not in my hands. Environmental shanti or not is not in my hands. Internal shanti is in my hands. So I develop titiksha for external sound. But supposing I have missed that point, my ball has fallen further down. And if it falls further down, then I know I'm getting irritated. Every day in the morning only I start up. Even before I sit for adhyanam, the memory abhi shuru ho jayega. Just when I will open my book, uska bhi music shuru. Aur wo bhi kaun sa music? Not conducive, obviously. Who listens early morning to all that loud rock and rolls, no, jazz and what are those nowadays? Pop songs. नहीं, but है, अब उसको तो वही अच्छा लगता है ना. So now, if my irritant has started, now what is the Shastra telling me? What is the stage of my desire here? Should I follow this desire?
Find the flaw.
Find the flaw. Should I follow? Your question was which desires to follow. Should I follow this desire?
No, because it will
No.
make me follow
It will make me exactly. So, which desires can I follow if they are harmless acquisitions, phones and objects for survival? And because you're in a family, you have relations, you have extended relations, you have to maintain certain level of relations. There is a give and take happening in relations. Vyavharik drishti mein. My formula would be, I would say, because Shastra only says this way, as I said. But if you have to bring it down further, you would say only what is mandatory and necessary. You think it is necessary, you decide, you be the judge. If it is necessary, have the desire, chase, fulfill it, but be careful. Because now, what has Shastra taught me? If I fulfill my desire, what will happen to me?
Dukh will also come. That's
will
what
also
I'm thinking
exactly.
now.
So बाकी के विकार भी तो साथ आएंगे ना. खोने का भी विकार आएगा, उसको संभाल के रखने का भी विकार आएगा. वो सारे so be ready for all those vikars also. If despite that you want it, have it for whatever it's worth. If any object is worthy, especially when another added layer you can add, if you are able to connect the use of the object to your higher purpose. Any object that you wish to have, if you can connect it to higher purpose, then this object is absolutely sanctioned. Does that give more clarity?
Yes, please.
Otherwise, you can think further and we can take it up. Okay, so now we'll end the class here. I don't know how many people I'm able to reach or not reach now, but on 30th January to 3rd of February, 5 days, Monday to Friday, I plan to take a full day retreat online, which will have a morning meditation 6 o'clock based on second chapter, which will be Vedantic meditation, which means mananam in meditation, nididhyasanam. So the first part of the Gita, second chapter, where Krishna starts with the Atmagyanam. So the meditation over that. Then there'll be a break, then another session, 1.5 hours, 1 hour, 15 minutes or something. We'll start the revision of the verses quickly. Then a little break, then another session, continue with the revision, then a break, and in the evening, 5:30 to 6:30, better would be there'll be 2-3 things depending of course on the level of participation of people and everything. We will have open session. You can ask your questions based on those verses, doubts if you have any. And it would be nice if you volunteer to summarize the verse in your own words, what you have understood. If you have that prepared beforehand, or alternatively, in certain verses, I will have a kind of a short workshop exercise based on these verses. So the entire 5 days is only second chapter based. It was always my idea to bring it forward like this so that it helps in consolidation to the set of people that we are interacting with in the world. Those who come are all grahastas, and you know, so these kind of things help further to bring knowledge closer to you. Idea has always been for many years to do this. I don't know if we can still execute, God willing, Ishvara willing. If we can, we will for every chapter. So every chapter summary. So there'll be a short summary, quick summary, and then a retreat kind of a summary based where entire chapter is reinforced. Am I clear on the outline of the retreat?
Yes, it should be.
So those who are interested can send me a message. I will post a form now that some of you have said you would be interested. If you want, anyone can join, of course. It doesn't have any restriction. Even if you're absolutely some new person wants to join, because it's an overview. Idea was always to go in a structured manner. So question is not who will find, everybody will find it useful. Who will have more benefit is one who has already done the study before. It's not a question of who will not benefit. Everybody, Shastra Vidya, everybody benefits from. There is nobody who doesn't benefit from Shastra Vidya. Everybody is eligible, everybody benefits. But who benefits more will be obviously the ones who are fresh. The second chapter is still fresh in your mind. So I will send emails and I'll post also here a kind of a form, basic registration just for my cognition, who is and who is not. And so we will conclude, I think, tomorrow this chapter. Okay. Yeah. Everybody fine with it?
So Didi, will follow this for every day, 30th to this will only be the form.
Yeah. From Monday to Friday, 5 days, an exclusive attention together to see the chapter together. And keep reinforcing it. Along with, I think a lot of you are chanting also. You know your chantings now, so the verses will settle down. The idea is, when the verses have more repetition in your chittam, antakarnam, more available they become. More reflective you can get. Okay. So, but of course not compulsory. Nothing is compulsory in my classes. Everything is your wish.
Actually, it's clashing with our Monday class at 6 o'clock. That's why I was a little.
Please, whatever is convenient to you. Whatever, no issues. This is
No,
all.
but it's only on one day, but only on one day.
All this we'll talk later. We'll talk later.
Yes.
So let's just end the class. This is just an announcement. So it's not a. We'll have this later for everyone to know. Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma kaschit dukha bhag bhave. Om swasti prajabhyav paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahishaha go brahmanebhyah shubhamastu nityam loka samasta sukhino bhavantu kali varshatu parjanyah पृथ्वी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Jupiter. Thank you so much.
Thank you.